MyMac Podcast 855. Monopoly.
And welcome everyone to the MyMac.com podcast. And we actually have like a serious topic to speak about today because there's lots of talk from Capitol Hill in regards to those naughty big tech companies. Congress wants them to play by the same rules as the average person, as if the average person could create a big tech company, or that they could either. Oddly enough, Apple isn't probably less of a fix as the other four by these bills' definition. So that should be a lot of fun. How are you today, Gaz? Are you doing okay?
I'm doing very well, actually. We've had a really good day. We actually went out shopping. Yes, we had to wear masks in the shops, but they weren't too crowded. It was quite good. I bought some shorts, Guy. I actually bought some shorts. I can't remember the last time I bought any clothes, including underwear. I just don't know.
Are you saying you bought underwear also, or you can't remember the last time you bought underwear?
I can't remember.
Because, you know, it's like, what's that say? Scooby-Doo? What?
I think it says Scooby-Doo. It's so worn out. It's faded.
1969? Holy crap. It has been a long time since I've bought underwear.
Yes, holy crap, meaning more than you think.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. So,
how are you?
I'm doing okay. I've had actually kind of a busy week.
Yeah, I have as well, but we'll get on to that in a minute.
Well, go ahead.
No, you carry on. You go ahead. You carry on.
I helped my son Peter move from one part of Virginia to another part of Virginia. It was a grand total of around 15, 16 miles was the total length of the move.
Okay.
However, it took us over 2 hours to traverse those 16 miles. Not so much going down. That was actually the easy part, but trying to come back up.
Was it a steep hill?
No, it wasn't a hill at all. It was just, there was a pre-density, and I don't even know if that's a word, of cars that was everywhere around us.
Right. A traffic jam.
And they mostly had me. I was there for number one for comic relief.
Well, that,
and also,
it's the only reason I come on this show each week.
Exactly. The other reason was to drive the big truck because there were lots of people to move stuff, though I did move some stuff. And I had at least half of the people that were there were like, "Oh, Mr. Searle, you don't have to do that. It's okay." It's like, I'm not a freaking invalid. You know, I'm 60 plus years old, but I'm not an invalid. I can move stuff too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Sonny, I can move. Oh, my back. Hold on. Hold me up, boy. Hold me up.
I've broken my pelvis. The
pelvis.
Truck, originally pelvis. Yeah, Pelvis Presley. They originally were going to get a 20-foot truck, but then once I got there and I saw how much stuff they had, it was like, no, you don't need that big of a truck. Because they don't actually have to be out of their current place until like mid-July. Right. So they didn't have like any of their little stuff packed up. So all we were really doing was just moving the big stuff.
The bulky stuff.
And so, yeah. So we got a smaller truck. And the problem with this truck, the front end, you know, when you look at this truck and the word front end alignment, you realize that these are 2 points that are on a completely opposite end of the scale. Because this truck, like, I'm trying to go straight and I'm going like this the whole time, moving the steering wheel back and forth just to try to keep the truck straight. It was really, really awful. And then what made it worse was, now, do you drive with 1 foot or 2 feet in an automatic?
In an automatic, I drive with 1 foot.
Right, as most people should. Now, because of the way the truck's accelerator and brake was, because the accelerator was like way down near the floor while the brake was way lifted off of the firewall where you know these pedals are, you couldn't do the typical like just keeping your heel on the floor and just moving it from the accelerator to the brake. You couldn't do that. So you had to take your foot off the accelerator completely, move it over, and then hit the brake.
Yeah.
And that little gap really kind of threw me off. as far as trying to do that. And it made it so that I had real leg and foot fatigue by the time we got done with all this. But it did, however, take a lot less time than I thought it was going to take.
Other than the traffic.
Other than the traffic. Well, I mean, the move part went phenomenally well. It was not so much trying to go down, but trying to bring the truck back, where it took like 2 hours to do this 15 miles. And it was, oh God, the entire time.
I hate being in traffic. It sends me crazy. I just can't stand it. I would prefer to be moving at 1 mile an hour.
It doesn't even have to be fast. It doesn't even have to be fast.
As long as I'm moving, I can just about bear it. But when you stop, I just get so angry. And then inch up like 10 feet and then have to stop again. It just winds me up so much.
And the last little bit of news for this week. Now, you know who Nibs UK is?
Yes.
Okay. Some time ago, talking about microphones, and I do that every so often.
I've never heard you talk about microphones at all.
Single thing about it.
No.
He sent me a tweet and a link to this company in the UK.
Yeah.
And their website is, I think it's soupcanmic.uk. .co.uk.
Okay.
And they make microphones out of soup cans.
Excellent.
Including the stand. And I got one just because it was like, I'm looking at these things on the website and I know it's going to sound like garbage. I know it's going to sound awful, but it doesn't matter because it's a microphone made from a soup can.
Can I say, folks, are you going to play it on the show?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'll do it right now, but I wanted to show it to you. And this is incentive for people who listen to the show to go on over to YouTube, VertShark, look up VertShark, and watch this video at whatever the timestamp is that this comes up. This is it right here. Do you see that?
No,
and even
the guy.
Look what it says on the stand.
Can I just? It says soup can mic, right? Yeah. And it is a soup can. The thing is, people are now shouting at you saying, "So what's the timestamp?"
No idea, and I won't know until I actually edit the show.
It's going to be no more than 12 minutes in, folks.
Yeah, it'll probably be under 10 minutes.
About
in the under 10 minute mark.
I'd say about 7 minutes. Yeah, seven or 8.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I don't know if
it does look good actually.
How well this is going. It looks cool. I mean, here's an actual soup can. Yeah. It's got a 1/4-inch input right here.
Is that Hessian over the top?
It's a Hessian with no aggression. I don't know what that means.
Hessian is like a material. It's like a very rough material. Hessian sack.
It's like sackcloth.
Yeah,
it's like sackcloth
Hessian.
Right there.
Hessian, yeah.
And it's tied with some kind of string around the can for this cloth.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they've got like some kind of glue to hold it all in place.
Yeah, like a wax glue.
I was going to take that off and see what the element was inside. And it was like, if I do that, I'll have to buy another one of these.
You will.
Because I will have broken this one.
Correct.
So
yes.
My curiosity is not going to be sated with that. But the microphone itself was 15 pounds, which is around $24.
I think I'm going to buy one of those.
I know, it just looks cool. And the stand, which is this part right here.
Yeah, just a
it's
clamp.
It's not really a stand. Yeah. It's like just a clamp. That was 5 pounds, which is about $7.
Yeah.
And when I took it out and I saw that it actually said
soup can
mic in what looks like, what did they call that? What did they call that thing where they like stamp out the letters on that thin strip?
Oh, crikey. Dynamo. Is it Dynamo?
Yeah, that's the company that makes the little devices that do that. Yeah. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Anyway, and again, it's got a 1/4-inch input there on the bottom.
Yeah, I see it.
It just looks cool. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be quiet for a second, and
I'm
going to switch microphones.
What I'd like to know is what was in that can before.
Well, apparently soup. That's my guess.
Cool. Yeah, good shout. Yeah, dumb gas. Yeah.
Oh,
what type of soup though?
Tomato.
Tomato.
Tomato. It's
How about
tomato
mulligatawny?
gas.
Mulligatawny soup.
It very well
Because
could
the
have been
type of soup could have a big bearing on the sound.
You think so? Only if
I
they
know
didn't clean
so.
it out afterwards.
I know so. I was the guy that set this company up because I knew you'd be stupid enough to buy one.
To buy one. Yeah, like, oh, we got another guy over there in the U.S. So there's like a bunch of different color schemes for these, and because I support the military, I got the one that has like
you got a camouflage
colors.
one. Yeah.
So because you
can't actually see it I can't see it until you actually point it and put it in front of the camera.
Yeah,
it's camouflage.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down the good mic, the SM7B, and I'm going to turn up this one and speak into it. Hold on.
I'm going to listen to this with both headphones in to see if there's any difference.
Okay. Now, the thing to remember is you have to get really, really close to this thing to talk, and you have to turn the gain. I have the gain up all the way in the channel that this is plugged into, because otherwise you can't hear Jack stuff.
Soup.
Jack stuff. Jack soup. You can't hear Jack soup unless I do that. Anyway, this is what it sounds like. It is not the most professional mic out there. It almost sounds like you're talking through a soup can.
I tell you what, it doesn't sound as bad as you think it does.
Well, maybe not. I'll listen to it when this whole thing is over. I'm gonna turn this one back off. Okay, I'm back on my regular mic again.
I'll tell you what, you just sound louder now.
Back to the other one.
You just sound louder.
It's not as good. Plus, this isn't camouflage and wasn't made out of a soup can.
Anyway,
so that was like 5 minutes right there of just quality entertainment for the people that listen to the MyMac.com podcast.
Quality.
And again, I'm speaking with Mike.
So what mic are you using today, Guy?
I am, just like last week, I'm still on the Shure SM7B, which is a dynamic microphone. Now, that microphone cost about $25. This one costs about $400. Is there 400? Is there 1,600% better sound from this microphone than that microphone? I'm going to say yes, there is.
Well, you would.
I would. Well, what have you got going on this week, Gaz?
Well, this week I've been busy painting, staining, and fixing a side gate for someone. Not all week, but yes, it's work, and I'll get paid for it. Yippee!
Oh, nice.
It's been really awkward, actually. It's again from a garage wall to a house wall, but they're at an angle, so that's not creating a bit of a problem. It's some odd. Anyway, it's good. I'll send a picture for next week.
You're painting a wall.
No, the gate, because basically it's a wood gate which hasn't been stained or painted. They wanted it a certain color, that's fine. They wanted it stained afterwards because it's outside, and then I'm having to fix new posts to the wall and adjust it. It's cool. It's going to look
nice.
Good. So not much done on MyMac, other than a few emails and budgeting stuff. Of course, doing the usual Wilf wanderings.
Happy dog.
A happy dog. I actually fitted a new kitchen tap in the house. I fixed some LEDs.
Nice.
Now, fix some LEDs. What the hell do you mean by that, Gaz? I mean, it's not as straightforward.
Light emitting diodes.
Yeah, not as straightforward as it should be. And the reason for that is because they now come in a block. Okay. So it's not just take off the plate, pull out the, like used to be a halogen connection, LED, and put in new LED. Oh no, it's a complete unit, which is IP65, and you have to pull out the complete. I mean, talk about saving the planet. That's not. Anyway. I've also been punching down the nails in our living room hardwood floor in readiness to sand and varnish, like I did in this room, actually. In the study. So, yeah, been doing a few bits this week. Now, would you like to hear a little bit more about how the Ordnance Survey had its origins?
Would I? Yes, actually, yes, I would.
Okay, so last week,
I like Roy.
what I'll have to do is I'll have to do this in a purge, so it all comes out together, so people can listen to it all in one.
It can be the Ordnance Survey podcast.
No. Last week, Roy had been asked or been tasked with mapping the military important area of the UK. Because of the European turmoil and in particular a possible French invasion, if you remember. And we're still in the years 1791 to 1801, not 1971, as I said last week. Now, before the summer of 1794 had turned into autumn, map makers had laid down the triangulation of the coast from Fairlight Head in Sussex to Portland in Dorset. So that's a stretch along the south coast of England. Map making began attracting quite a lot of attention from landowners who offered landmarks in their own estates as secondary trig points. That's trigonometry points, of course. Yes. Surveyors otherwise often built small stacks of stones to indicate where the theodolite had been placed, and these remained in the landscape for months afterwards. This will come back later on, actually, because we still have those triangulation points, and when you go up to them, there are little arrows, but I'm sure we'll come on to that at a later stage. Now, once peace was established in Europe, the progress of map publication often depended on enough landowners in an area agreeing to buy the maps in advance, because obviously it's still a matter of you've got to make some money here. Now, jumping back a little bit, the first maps were available to the public in the late Georgian era. These stunning works of art weren't cheap, but the owner was privy to a spectacular aerial view of the landscape, until then only seen from a hot air balloon. So hot air balloons have been about then as well, see? But I'm not going to talk about hot air balloons. Ordnance Survey, or OS, which we'll come to know as it is later, wasn't used at all until 1801, when its director wrote on a draft document. The name wasn't printed on a map until the 1810 Ordnance Survey of the Isle of Wight and part of Hampshire. The first Ordnance Survey map was published in 1801. England's most southeasterly county, Kent, was one area most vulnerable to the French invasion, so that's why it was created.
Is that anywhere near where Brighton is?
It's further along. It's further further east.
Okay. Yeah. That's like the only big coast that I went to when I was in the UK.
That is the south coast. That is the south coast. And that's it for the time being. So more next week on why on earth I'm using Ordnance Survey maps to do my bike riding. It's taking a long time, this, isn't it? Why not? So I think we'll get on to Gaz's snippets. Smooth. This show is just so smooth.
It's like we haven't done 24 minutes of us just rambling.
The new Apple TV remote makes everyone happy, Guy. After a month of having the new Apple TV in a particular household, that person can firmly recommend that all Apple TV owners pick up the new generation of Apple TV Siri remote.
Can you buy that remote?
Yep.
Separately, or do you have to get it through?
Yeah, it's quite expensive though. It's about $60, $59, something like that. It's quite a lot. Yeah, you're almost
chiclet remote.
Yeah, you're almost worth just buying an Apple TV and getting one. So but it is supposed to be really good. Anyway, Apple TV Plus shares official trailer for Ted Lasso season 2 ahead of the July 23rd premiere. Did you watch it?
I loved Ted Lasso.
No. Did you watch the trailer?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know, I kind of watched it and then wish I hadn't.
How come?
Because I was thinking, yeah, I'm going to be looking for these bits now in the show. I should have just waited for it to come because I know it's going to be good. Anyway,
well, it could be something like with there's a I don't know if you ever heard of this cartoon Rick and Morty.
I have heard of it. I don't think I've seen it.
Okay, it's really odd. But in their opening credits, they have like various things that the characters are going through. Sometimes they're from episodes. sometimes they aren't. So just because it's in a trailer doesn't necessarily mean that you'll
No.
see it in the actual
It's true.
film.
It's true. But I am looking forward to it. Ireland doesn't want to increase 12.5% tax paid by Apple, Google, and others. I wonder why.
Yeah,
I
because then they'll all leave and go
wonder
someplace
why.
else.
Absolutely. Germany's competition watchdog to investigate whether Apple's ecosystem damages other businesses.
Or created those other businesses.
Or created, or maybe those other businesses aren't worth the business that they've created. Carrot Weather shares a mildly humorous, I'm going to say here, unboxing of the Apple Design Award. I watched this because I saw the word humorous unboxing and thought, so it's not really that funny. It's not as funny. It's not as funny actually, because everybody says about how good Carrot is in giving you the weather, and but yeah, I wasn't that impressed. Lawmakers in Russia vote to force Apple and other US tech firms to open local offices.
It depends on what they mean by local offices. I mean, if you just want an office where there's some guy in there that's monitoring what Apple is selling in your country, okay, that's fine. But if it's, we want you to have your servers and everything else here, like what's happened in, other countries, then yeah, I would have a bit of a problem with that.
Well, I have a feeling that the companies will make sure that they only meet the minimum requirements that's being asked of them. I have a feeling.
Maybe.
New law could require Apple TV Plus to finance and promote Canadian content.
Hey?
A controversial bill passed in Canada could require video streaming services like Apple TV Plus and others to finance and promote Canadian content. It's a little bit like the French. And I know Canadians, Canada,
yeah,
Canadians
in
Canada, I'm going to get so much trouble for that.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of French.
At this point, Gaz, everybody hates us. So
I think there's quite a lot of French influence there. No, I get it, but really just make good content and then it'll be shown.
Yeah. Make good content, submit it to Apple Plus for viewing, and then if Apple decides to buy it and show it through their service, great.
Yeah, because
to sit there and say, Apple has to make content that's specific.
It's not just Canada. Apple, not just Apple, just not.
I know.
Apple.
But
no.
Yeah, but
if Steve was there,
who does Canada think they are?
They're Canadians. If Steve was there, he'd say
no,
but he's not there, so you can do what you
say
like.
That.
No,
yeah,
no, he didn't. He didn't say that. Another person has accidentally swallowed an AirPod, and it's still working after being retrieved.
What?
Somebody swallowed an AirPod.
Number one, how do you swallow an AirPod? Unless you have a mouth by your ear.
Well, if it drops into your food and you're not looking at your food and you take a big spoonful of mashed potato and swallow it and so that was a lumpy bit and swallow down, hey, people are funny. I'm more concerned about the fact that they found out it's still working after it's been retrieved. That's retrieved.
Yeah. What was that retrieval process? Anyway? We're not even going to speculate.
First of all, once you suddenly knew that you'd eaten it, why would you go through the process of waiting to find out when it came out? I'd take the loss. I'd take the loss, guy. I'd say, damnations. Where's my insurance policy? TSMC are to give top priority to Apple over vehicle chip orders. Now, TSMC are to give top priority to Apple on vehicle chip orders. Now, I'm not quite sure I get this.
Yeah.
Because
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
unless there was like an Apple car.
Oh no, sorry.
Which
I'm
there is
sorry.
not.
It's the headline. Sorry, it's the headline reads not badly actually. According to a new DigiTimes report. Oh, in fact, they've missed the R off report because it's ePort. TSMC will prioritize Apple and there's just a three little word there, and vehicle makers ahead of those who make crappy Windows PCs. Yeah, well, aren't TSMC something to do with Apple anyway?
Well, I think they're making the M series chips, or one of the companies is making M series chips for Apple because they have the.
You can't see my face, can you? You can't see my face, can you?
Oh, now I can. Okay, I'll be quiet now.
Yeah, Apple pens a letter to. Now, I think you've got something to say on this, but Apple has. Right. Okay. So I'll leave that there, shall I? I won't say any more. American Airlines are rolling out iPhones and iPads to flight attendants and others over next year. Well, good old American Airlines.
Why
and I'm
did
sure
it take so long?
Well,
I mean,
we've had a bit of a pandemic. We've had a bit of a pandemic. So,
well, it's not even. I mean, even before everything that happened with COVID and the pandemic, there were pilots on various airlines that were, instead of carrying out a great big briefcase filled with maps, had just an iPad that had everything that they needed on it. So why would it take that long for American Airlines to go ahead and say, well, the checklists that are being used by our flight attendants,
I'll tell you why.
Go ahead and make it a side-loaded iOS app. What's the big hairy ass
I'll
deal?
tell you why.
Tell me.
Because the software wasn't there to support it correctly. Without the software, there's no point in having the hardware. Now, we spoke about this last week. Apple TV Plus Series Foundation and the problem with Jon Stewart, though I'm not so worried about that, is premiering in September. So that's when it's coming out.
I'm really looking forward to Foundation, and Jon Stewart has so many problems that I could see that series going on for decades. It would be the equivalent of saying,
will you let me finish?
The problem with Guy Searle.
Will you let me finish?
Yes.
Thank you. Now sit there and be quiet. Apple says third-party app stores would open iPhones to scammers, and I'm sure that Guy may well be speaking about that as well. Minchiquo. 2022 iPhone SE will be the cheapest 5G iPhone ever. Do you know, sometimes I really struggle with these predictions, but it's just Ming.
I'm going to sit there and say, hey Ming, are you like struggling a bit to find
Apple
things to talk about?
Apple shares a trailer for docuseries Watch the Sound with Mark Ronson. Now, I think I wanted to say something about this actually. I did want to say something and then it was boring, so I'm not going to say it.
Good enough.
Apple are rolling out a new firmware version for AirTag item trackers, apparently. A French court sets the date for another trial against Apple's App Store. Another trial. Yeah, good old Francais. That's what I can say.
Them and Canada should get together for these things. up there in QE Beck.
Apple TV orders Strange Planet adaptation from Nathan Pyle and Rick and Morty creator Dan Harmon. There you go.
Who also is one of the brainchilds with Star Trek Lower Decks.
Now, apparently, this isn't really an iPhone or Apple particular, but the EU roaming charges begin for Brits as the first carrier breaks its Brexit promise. Now, can I just say, the Brexit vote happened 5 years ago. 5 years. Can you believe? That's just incredible. And nothing's going to change. It's all going to be hunky-dory. And guess what? We're now going to be charged for all sorts of things. And all those Brexiteers, you've brought it on yourself. That's all I'm going to say. You brought it on yourself.
Well, but remember, for the most part, they don't go anywhere. They just sit there in their little.
No, they do. No, Guy. No, they do. And the thing is, they'll sit there going, "This shouldn't be any more expensive. Oh, I don't pay for this. Oh, this is ridiculous."
Is that the way they actually sound?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good.
Most of the. I am going to be. I am going to be in.
Kids that talk like that.
I'm going to be in so much trouble because I've got a very good friend who doesn't talk like that at all, and he voted out. So no,
but
they don't.
Does his kids talk like that?
He hasn't got any.
Yes,
no,
they
do. That's a lie because he does have kids, but they're old enough to have made the right decision when they. Apple TV Plus announces its first French language original production, a thriller series called Liaison. Now, Canada, that's all you've got to do.
There you go, yeah. Or would that be Liaison? No, it wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't. Apple continues to crack down on leaks and sends warning letters to prominent sources. Dun, dun, dun. Apple has...
I'm actually on the wrong page.
Well, would you like me to do that again?
There we go.
You still haven't got a pen, have you? Apple has released a trailer for Sundance, an award-winning movie, Coda. It premieres on August 13th on Apple TV Plus. Huh? I don't get that. Apple releases a trailer for Sundance.
It's a movie called
Coda. Award-winning movie, Coda. Okay.
That won an award at Sundance, I guess.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I didn't get that right.
It's all that wine you're drinking. That's what the problem is.
It is. Now, do you not want me to say this either? Tim Cook called Nancy Pelosi.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. I can say that, can I? Well,
sure.
Tim Cook. Oh, hang on a minute. Tim Cook. Here we go. That's the wrong one, isn't it?
Greetings, Tim the Enchanter.
Is that the right one?
I think that's the right one.
Yeah. So actually, this would be the right one for this, wouldn't it? So Tim calls Nancy Pelosi.
Greetings, Tim the Enchanter.
And other members of Congress to warn against an antitrust legislation. Microsoft CEO, he'd welcome Apple to bring iMessage to Windows. Yes, talk about stirring it up. Yes, we don't mind having lots of different apps and people coming onto our
that people actually like.
Yes. Morgan Stanley has said that Apple is a good long-term buying opportunity ahead of iPhone 13.
Yeah, that's how you stand out on a limb there, Morgan.
Wow, go for it, Morgan.
By making grand
bold statements like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Satya Nadella's closing Windows 11 remarks were a direct shot against Apple's bow. Now, let me just see if I can find this.
Have you seen any of the images about Windows 11?
Very similar to
the Mac OS. Was that what you were going to say?
Yes.
Really? Are you sure? Does it really?
At the end of the surprisingly eventful, exciting presentation of a Windows 11, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella came on the video feed to deliver some closing remarks. He laid out his vision for Windows 11 as a platform for platform creators. Apple. Yeah. How many? That's getting very old now. It's getting very old. How many times have Microsoft tried to do this in the past? Yeah.
Just every time.
Tim Cook,
greetings, Tim the Enchanter,
has attended a grand opening of the Apple Store in downtown Los Angeles. Good for him. And I tell you what, it looked like it was a bit of a clique. So I saw all pictures of all these famous podcasters, and they're all there going, "Oh, Tim, don't we love you? Don't you love us? Oh, Tim Brown Tongue." Mm. Yes.
Well, the big problem was that we weren't there to do the exact same thing.
Because we'd have been there like a shot, wouldn't we?
Oh, sure, damn right we would. We would have been like, "Oh, you want us to go to Los Angeles to attend this Apple Store opening with Tim Cook?" Huh. Okay.
Let me think about that. Let me think about that.
Fanboys.
Google Fi, or Google Fi, however you want to say it,
Or
Is
fun.
roll as Google Google
That's a product that I want to use. Have you
Google
seen what Google has now done with great,
How's your
fantastic.
excuse me? How's your running at the moment?
Is your okay?
Have you
And you have to say it while your head slightly jerks back and forth.
Anyway, it's rolling out. It's built-in VPN to iPhone subscribers, Guy. iPhone subscribers can get. For the past
Google.
few years, Google's MVNO has long offered a built-in virtual private network as part of its monthly subscription. The Google VPN is now rolling out to iPhone users. Yeah. Oh dear. Let's get seedy.
There's absolutely nothing that can go wrong with that for iPhone users.
Let's get seedy. Apple has sent second betas of tvOS 15, watchOS 8, and iOS and iPadOS 15 to developers. And apparently the latest iOS and iPadOS 15 betas allow apps to request access to more RAM. I'm waiting for the music.
Oh.
Not that music. Half the world.
Sorry.
Could you delete that, please?
Yeah, I got to get a different one.
Apparently, half the world now owns a smartphone. Well, I'm not so sure, considering not so long ago I had 3 smartphones. So, according to how they count, that may or may not be true. Apple TV Plus has shared a trailer for a musical comedy series, Schmigadoon, ahead of a July 16th premiere. Schmigadoon. I quite like that name. Schmigadoon.
Well, hopefully it's just as funny as its title.
Yeah.
Or not.
That reminds me, I've actually been on a couple of BBC shows this week. I'll tell you. Remind me later, and I'll tell.
Right.
I'll tell the whole world. Apple Watch ECG gets a green light in China, and it's available to test in Watch OS 8 Beta 2. Apparently.
So they're going to verify that Chinese people that they have heartbeats.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like a state secret before?
Totally.
Okay.
Apparently, why does Cupertino want to build the Apple car now? Okay, now, actually, now I'm just going to say something here, Guy. We don't think. I've said for a long time that I don't think they're going to build a car. It's going to be a service. Whether that service is something which is sold to other car manufacturers, or whether they actually have a service of a car which you can, order and it comes to and takes you to places. Now, the funny thing is, I watched a car-orientated YouTube channel the other day, and the guy he's an Apple fan, not a fan, but he uses Apple stuff and he's in the Apple ecosphere. And the first thing he said was, "Well, I've tried out this electric car," and he said, "After I got over the pain of having to use Android in the car, and then I suddenly thought, there's your answer. Android is obviously going to be a Google interface. It's going to be Google Maps. It's going to be Google Search. How many people are going to be doing that sort of stuff in the car? Many, many people. That's why Apple also wants to get into the car ecosphere.
With
people.
All of this data.
So whether it's a car or whether it's
in.
a service, like I said, probably back in 2012, bingo. So Ming Chi Kuo, come to me if you want some analytical views. It might be long term, Ming, but I will get there in the end. An iOS 15 hotspot connections feature strongly in WPA3 security. So starting with iOS and iPad iOS 15 later this fall, hotspot connections from iPhones and iPads will be secured with the improved WPA3 security protocol.
That's right. Not that old nasty WPA2 protocol. Nobody wants that anymore.
Well, they don't actually, because that's very dodgy, if I'm honest. Anyway, Guy, that, my friend, is the end of Gaz's snippets. However, I do have a couple of Gaz's links.
Ooh, tell me.
So the first one, and I think Carl actually mentioned this, is the London Underground mobile coverage is reaching all stations and tunnels by 2024.
He did mention this.
So he was quite, that's dreadful. That's dreadful. People are going to be noisy and talking on their phones, whereas what they should be doing is on the train and looking at the floor, not looking at anybody else.
Actually, it'll probably make the trains much quieter since everybody will be on their phones.
It may well be, yes, it may well do. They're pretty quiet at the moment, other than the I mean, it's an old rolling track.
Is that like some kind of new UK music?
Yeah, it's the new Beatles. Anyway, I've got to say I have experienced something that Carl mentioned, and that is you pull into a station, and some station does have a connection. And you're desperately trying to get that connection on your phone so you can send that message that you desperately need to get going. So that would be better if that doesn't happen. So I've got a link for that if people want to see that. And also,
this is interesting.
This headline was: anyone still using cash? The British £50 banknote is honouring Alan Turing. So the UK's new £50 note has entered circulation on the 109th anniversary of the birth of its subject, the mathematician and computer scientist Alan Turing. Initially announced 2 years ago and unveiled back in March, the note is due to become available in bank branches and ATMs over the coming days. Now, funnily enough, Guy, I think there will be a lot of people that go out and try and get hold of one of these notes and then keep it in pristine condition under their mattress. Its arrival completes the Bank of England's range of polymer notes. So I don't know if you know, but we used to have a type of paper note, and they had double layer and all the security. Well, they've gone to this kind of plastic note, which when you fold it over, it doesn't fold. It doesn't get a crease in it.
So it lasts longer.
It lasts longer, yes.
Yeah, just in time for people to stop using cash. Excellent.
Absolutely. It's perfect. But well, yes, but now they won't. They'll be even longer because there'll be less usage of it. So the notes will last even longer.
Do they still have £1 notes, or is that
no coins? It's a coin now.
Well, I know that they had the coins because that was.
They don't have the notes. No.
The heaviest thing in my pocket. Anytime, if I had a bunch of £1 coins in what I would be like listening to one side as I was walking down the street.
Probably to the starboard side. Probably to the starboard side. No, you get coins, but notes. The £1 notes are not in circulation, except on possibly the Isle of Man, and in possibly Scotland. So I must admit they may still be in circulation there, because £1 in Scotland, well, it could buy you a house basically. That's a joke. And that's the end.
So let's see: Canada, France, and Scotland. Just this show alone.
Well,
hate us.
If you're going to go for it.
Go big. Go big.
Go big. Yeah, Canada's quite big, isn't it?
They are.
Yeah. Are you saying Canadians are big? Is that what you just said? Did I?
No, Canada is big.
I said you. I'm sure you said they are, and you don't refer to a country as they, do you? Only its people. I think you were being.
Well, there's the United States of America.
I think you were being Canadianist.
They UK.
It doesn't work, you see.
No,
anyway,
it doesn't.
That's the end of Gaz's links.
Okay, well, I think that's it for this. I don't think we can get ourselves in any more trouble. So everyone, please, for the love of God, stand by, and we will be right back with more stuff.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to part 2 of this week's Mighty MyMac podcast. And it's a bit of a Monopoly. I like the game Monopoly. How do you like the game Monopoly, Guy?
It depends on what version you're talking about. I know this is just completely off topic.
The original version.
Oh, I like being either the little dog or the top hat. And you know what I named my little dog?
I like being the car.
Can you guess?
What? You made it?
Wilf.
You called it Wilf.
I did. The little Monopoly dog's name is Wilf.
Good. Good.
This week, there's been a lot of kerfuffle over some bills that are being proposed in the U.S. House of Representatives. And the U.S. government and many individual U.S. states have filed various lawsuits against what some are calling the Big Five in tech, which is Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, and Microsoft. And as I looked at this, I thought it was kind of an odd list, since these companies, in a lot of cases, don't compete directly against each other in many areas, but they have been buying up their direct rivals and incorporating them, which I think is where most of this is coming from. And there's the lead Democrat, House Chair Democrat, David, and we've talked about this guy before. I think we called him an idiot. Cicilline Lini, I don't know, I can't pronounce his name. He has said Google, Amazon, and Apple each favor their own products in search results. That's not true, giving themselves an unfair advantage over competitors. Also, he said, right now, unregulated tech, which is also not true. Let me start that again. Unregulated tech monopolies have too much power over our economy. They are in a unique position to pick winners and losers, destroy small businesses, raise prices on consumers, and put folks out of work. Our agenda will level the playing field and ensure that the wealthiest, most powerful tech monopolies play by the same rules as the rest of us. I won't say anything about people in Congress not playing by those same rules that they impose.
So those rules, what are those rules exactly? Is it all about paying tax, do you think?
No, actually, well, it comes down to money, as it almost always does. But to show that the Democrats don't have a monopoly on this kind of stuff, Republican Ken Buck, the name alone just screams comedy. These companies have maintained monopoly power, not true, in the online marketplace by using a variety of anti-competitive behaviors to stifle competition. Doing nothing is not an option. We must act now.
Hey, that's a swell idea, and it just might work.
Or it might not work. Now, reading between the lines on both what David Cicilline and Ken Buck have stated, neither one of them actually provided any proof for their statements. And how much of this is grandstanding and how much of this is like actual well thought out legislation can be up to the individual. Now, there may be some merit in limiting and having greater scrutiny over acquisitions similar in scope to what a company already does. For example, Facebook acquiring Instagram, which was another social networking site, and another that would force companies to break off parts that create a conflict of interest over competitors. And the example that I saw was Amazon selling products under their own brand name, similar to what other companies sell. Now, in both of those examples, if it can be proven that the search results or that these companies are using their power to step on other rivals for the same kinds of items by design rather than popular results, then perhaps the case can be made. And there's 5 bills that have been proposed. And we're going to go over these one by one. Bill 1, empowering the Justice Department or Federal Trade Commission to break up tech firms by forcing them to sell off parts of their business that could create a conflict of interest. Who determines that? Who determines what the conflict of interest is or what parts of their business that they have to sell off? And it seems like it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, Gaz. What do you think?
Yeah, I think what they've got to do is create an environment which is fair for people to do business and not try to start stifling the businesses themselves
that are already there.
Yeah. Well, no, not even already there. I mean, it's a matter of making sure that companies know the rules to which they've got to abide by. And the problem with tech firms is tech and tech industry has moved quicker than regulation understands and can put in appropriate regulation that there should be to encompass those business in a society that accepts what they're doing. And I think that's the problem we've got. Don't suddenly start picking on businesses, because if it's not Apple or Google or Facebook, it'll be someone else. It'll be another company that will come along, and then you'll go, oh, we got to stop this company because this company's doing what we don't want them to do, and they're not paying enough tax. Because that's what.
And what is that thing that they're not doing? I don't know.
But yeah. What is that thing they're not doing? Yeah. So I think what they've got to make sure that they've got to make appropriate regulation to make sure that somebody's not doing something they shouldn't. Now, some of the problems we've got now is some of these businesses are actually probably of a size which actually, if they get too much bigger, will be too big. But we're in a world now where businesses are bigger. And we're in a world now where tech business, I think, to run as efficiently as the likes of Apple need to be the sort of size that they are. Now, that's not in all cases, because Apple didn't used to be this size. And of course, the iPhones brought them on. But the more the iPhone has sold, the more money they've been able to put into research and development. And I think there are just things which they've got to put regulation in, which make sure that all companies are treated equally. I can't stand Google. I can't stand Amazon. And actually, I think they're almost self-regulating in the way that now I speak to a lot of people that use Amazon less and less and less, because Amazon are now stretching themselves to do things to make themselves bigger, because they can't get any bigger in what they're doing. So they start having to put their fingers in other pies, which then start costing them money, which they then realize, actually, we can't keep this growth up. We have to split and change, and that's what happens with businesses. But I think that's
not dissimilar to what was going on with Google as well, where they come up with these grand plans and introduce these new services, and then find out that it's not as profitable as they thought it was going to be.
Absolutely.
And then they just cancel them. And so people that were relying on those services are suddenly having to scramble to find some other solution to a problem that the original service had provided.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if the statement about stifling small and new businesses is true, and I'm not saying whether it is or whether it isn't, then regulation may need to be put in place to make sure that those companies have an opportunity, or new companies have an opportunity to take the business and the society as a whole moving forward. So I get it. However, I think there's a little bit of this going on.
What?
And for those listening that can't see me, I'm fingering notes. And that's not.
And they're made out of plastic.
That's not a euphemism. So yeah, so that's what I think.
Well, with that in mind, and this bill, this first bill that we're talking about here,
is that
how
William?
do you think that applies to Apple? Yes, this William. Do you think any of that applies to Apple? Because Apple is not a monopoly in anything that they do. They don't have the overwhelming market share of any product or service that they currently put out.
No, but I tell you why this is applied to them is because, and I'm going to say this with quite a lot of cynicism in my voice, they're an easy target.
Yeah. All you have to do is put Apple in a headline and it gets people's attention.
Yep.
Okay, you want me to go on to the next one, or do you have
Well,
anything
yeah.
else?
No more from me.
Okay, Bill 2. And again, this is like a consolidation of what I've been reading on these various bills. Bill 2 bars companies from giving their own service preferences over their rivals, like Google boosting its own products in search results over competitors. Now, when I read this, I thought about it, and it was like, well, if I look up word processors, what is going to be the first thing that comes up? Microsoft Word, because that's the number one word processor that's used in the world. So is that Microsoft's fault that comes up in that way? Is it Google's fault that the search result comes up that way? Is it being done on purpose so that Microsoft Word comes up ahead of other people? Or is it just
no. Hang fire.
Yeah,
I think I know what you're saying there, but actually, I think what this is aimed at is the likes of Google highlighting any product, whether it be free or otherwise, over Word. So if they said you can use our, I don't know what
Google
their
Docs.
Office suite, Google Docs. If they put that ahead of Microsoft Word, you would go, huh? We would do that, but somebody who's new to the whole environment of creating a document might go, Google Docs. Yes, I know Google. Do it. So I think that's what this is aimed at. Now,
okay, and that I understand.
Now, hang on a minute though.
Yeah.
And you said that you understand. Great. So from Google's perspective, that's what they have to be aware of. From Amazon's perspective, if they are promoting products where they make much more profit in their store, I think that's what this could well be slightly aimed at as well.
Yeah, their own products, as compared to somebody else's. Like, and the example that was given
higher profit products as well, I would say. So I think that's what
Amazon branded products.
So I think that's what this is aimed at, and that's reasonable. However, they won't do that. They'll say, yes, but Apple are promoting iMovie over everything else. Well, they're not a monopoly in the store that they're promoting that product, and that product is free.
Yeah.
A bit like Google Docs, I suppose. But Google, but there's a difference here. There's a difference here. There's a difference here. Massive difference. You buy into the Apple ecosphere. You buy the phone, you know that you're going to go to the Apple store. So you're already buying in. When you go on Google, you are looking for stuff with an open mind. And that's where I think Google has to be a little bit more careful. And I think they are in terms of that sort of stuff. I don't think they would promote Google Docs above Microsoft Word.
Well, they might.
They might.
Because remember
they might.
that
I've got a feeling
aren't there.
I know, but I've got a feeling that Amazon might be promoting stuff which are more profitable to them than the others. So that's what this is aimed at. And again, I think they will use the easy targets to put this down. But I don't have a problem with this as long as it's written correctly.
And it also needs to be proven. You can't just make a blind statement that that's what's going on.
That's like
some kind of proof for it.
Yeah, and this is like flat earthers. It's flat, folks. Prove me wrong. Well, here we go. Here's all the proof. Yeah, but that's rubbish. It's flat earth. Yeah. And that's you keep saying it. It's true. Well, you gotta come up with a reasonable explanation and a reasonable argument as to why you want to move that forward.
Yeah, but on the other hand, people who promote flat Earth are idiots. I think we established that.
I think you've just established the link, Guy.
Yeah, right there. All right. Bill 3. This would block companies from buying up competitors that they directly compete with.
There's already laws for this. There's already laws for this. This already exists. I don't.
Well, like when T-Mobile goes to buy Sprint. They're both telecommunication companies, so there's a lot of back and forth over whether or not this is going to harm the marketplace.
This is flatulence. This is flatulence to get people's attention, Guy.
Yeah, Amazon buying other online book services when they already have the Kindle. I'm trying to think of an example to use with Apple, and I really can't, because the problem with throwing Apple into a lot of these bills is that their acquisitions, for the most part, aren't based on things that they're already doing. Their acquisitions are based on areas that they want to go into. So when they bought that chip design company years and years and years ago, the reason why they did that was the M1. They wanted their own microprocessor, which they are now doing. And yes, it is based on ARM architecture, but a lot of the RISC type processors are based on ARM because it's just an efficient design.
Yeah, that's
over
not.
CISC.
That's not. I'd agree. I think you'd struggle to find an Apple component that matches this up. It would be a little bit like Apple buying Android.
Yeah. That, well, I think that would be, somebody would frown on that, Gaz. They'd be like,
Something wrong here.
Yeah. All right. Bill 4, increase merger fees. So investigating antitrust enforcers, agencies basically of the U.S. government, would have more money to, well, investigate. So here's where I think the rubber meets the road. I think
they have to be very, it's all about the money, Guy. I think they have to be very careful, because that might actually disengage companies from taking over a company that is never going to get anywhere unless they get a decent amount of backing to take their idea and their thought processes and their product forward. So very often
a lot of these companies have ideas that just don't work with the current technological environment, tech environment.
Yeah. Now, I agree that in some instances they're it's to the detriment of competition. So that's what it's going to be looked at. As long as the merger is not stopping competition, then fine, and not creating a monopoly. But that's there's other ways to get money to charge for that and investigate.
Apparently that's what they want. And I'm going to put something underneath this last one, Gaz.
Tax.
Well, that wasn't it.
No, that's our link.
Yeah. But it is something that you've been saying almost every single week, and you may realize what it is when I read this.
All right, go on.
Data collection from one platform would allow more interoperations to allow consumers to more easily switch to a competing service. And I'm going to try this again. This is something that you've been saying after each.
Do you want me to say it?
Go ahead.
Person, company, or governing body, if you want to play that silly game, along with, I'm sure, a lot of other people will continue to call you nasty, horrible people for putting my security at jeopardy.
Yeah, because this sounds good. It's like, oh, well, you want to go from Android to the iPhone, or you want to go from the iPhone to Android, or Mac to Linux, or whatever it is, whatever kind of service that you're currently using, and you want to switch to a competing service. Sounds great. Well, they can take the information that I've generated on this service and just apply it to that other service.
It's like, it's a little bit like me giving all the health data to the government, actually, because I may trust this government, but I might not trust the next government. And all of a sudden they've got my data, the data that really they shouldn't have in the first place. So, yeah.
Well, the thing that makes me pause for this particular one, if they make it so that all of your data can be easily switched from one service to another, it can also easily be collected by companies and or individuals and or certain
nasty people,
agencies that you may not want to have all of that information.
Yeah.
And that would make it much easier for them
Guy,
to do so.
if you're an innocent, well-behaved member of the community, why would you worry about all of your information being available to all of the appropriate
you're making an assumption
authorities? True.
That I'm a good, well-behaved member of society.
I am nodding my head at that, but that might be too soon.
Are you now? He says, wasting time trying to get back to the link.
It might be
Gaz's tips. Mostly. Gaz's tips. Mostly.
I got to.
Gaz's tips. It's time for Gaz's tip.
I was guessing there that you got to an end, but we had. Now, this is quick, short, and easy. And you may ask, Guy, why would I want to do this? Well,
why would you want to do this?
Well, I'll tell you in a minute. I'll tell you what it is first. If you're on your desktop and you press Command plus sign or Command minus sign, it will change the size of your icons on your desktop. Now you can ask your question.
Why would I want to do that, Gaz?
Well, if you actually can't see the icons, you might want to increase them. Now, why might you not be able to see those icons? Well,
because I'm an old fart.
Well, it's not just that, Guy, because if you go into displays and then you click on the resolution of your screen and make it really small so that you've got more space for all of your larger windows, your icons will become really, 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 really small. And you can then suddenly increase them without losing all of that resolution. And I see that Guy's nodding his head.
I am.
Hit it. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips.
Is that the end of the tip?
Will you let me finish?
Gaz's tips. Whoops.
Fine.
Gaz, you are absolutely right.
No, I'm not going to add that.
Is disgusting.
It is. We neither one of us have for pick's sakes this week, and we have. This is sad. We have absolutely no feedback from our listeners. Yeah, come on, listeners, do all those things, and we're going to tell you. Oh wait, but first, if you'd like to help support me buying things like this really awful
£15
microphone.
mic. It's not really awful.
No, it is. It's cute. It is a cute microphone. But I cannot think of a single reason why, other than the novelty of having a soup can microphone, that I would ever use it.
But you bought it.
I bought it. I did. Well, in order to help me buy more things like that, just go to patreon.com/MacParrot or coffee, ko-fi.com/MacParrot, or go to PayPal at paypal.me/MacParrot. There we go. Now, Gaz, if people wanted to contact you and say, why didn't you stop him from buying a soup can mic, how would they do it?
Well, first of all, I'd say I can't stop Guy doing anything. That's the first thing, okay?
Will you let me finish?
Well,
Gaz, you've got a point.
absolutely. Now, you can contact me at gaz@mymac.com, gaz@mymac.com, or on the Twitters, twitter.com/gazmazjz. AZ. Let me turn that down a little bit because it's a bit. You can also contact Guy and myself on the Twitters, twitter.com/Guy and Gaz, GUYANDGAZZ.
Cars.
You can also contact both of us on an email address, feedback@mymac.com, FEEDBACK at mymac.com.
Only a rat would shoot a guy in the back.
Can't think who that would be.
This guy's trying to slip me a Mickey.
Guy says,
What does he say?
Pay no attention to that guy behind the curtain.
Yeah, that's true.
Guy's the one.
Good advice.
Why? Guy's the one what?
You remember Guy?
No?
Guy.
Well,
He's the guy.
yeah.
His name was Guy.
Mm.
No fooling.
How would people get
An email from Guy.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Just go and type an email and use as the sending address, guy@mymac.com. That's all you got to do. You can also find me on the Twitters, MacParrot and or VertShark over there. Whoop, I didn't hear it.
Didn't you?
Is it? No. There, I heard it that time.
Well, that must be low. I used a
little
different
bit.
one.
I've completely lost my place in what I was talking about. Guy at mymac.com, the VertShark stuff. Go on over to YouTube. Look up VertShark over there on the YouTubes, and you can see all of the videos that are there. Guy's Daily Drive to get all of the audio versions of all the various stuffs.
Guy's the one.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Well, there's, of course, Mac to the Future livecast on Wednesday nights. And, of course, Guy's Daily Drive that I do in my car while driving, which is a terrible idea.
Grand.
But I do it anyway. Thank you, Bart. I appreciate that. Now, the other thing you can do is call us. And we really, really, really like the telephone calls. And in order to contact us, you dial a 1 or a +1 on your phone. Area code 703-436-9501. That number again, 1 or +1, 703-436-9501. Or if you want to do it in the Skype application, just dial 703-436-9501. And Gaz, this is the part of the show where I say thank you. Thank you. Thank you to all of you who download and listen to the MyMac.com podcast. We really appreciate the fact that you have done so. And with that in mind, Gaz, I think that we're smart enough this week. Yes. I also think that we're good enough. I got those in the wrong order and I don't care. And that
well, actually, you will do it. Woof, woof.
Woof, woof.
You will. It'll annoy you.
It will. Okay, I think we're good enough, smart enough, and Wilf gone it. Woof, woof, woof. Wilf. People like us.
El gracios qui un miembro della Cámara de Representativos critica a la gran tecnología por no seguir las reglas de todos los demás mientras ignora que tampoco cumplen esas mismas reglas.
I wonder if my sister-in-law Marisa would have understood a single thing that you just said.
No. Guy?
Yeah.
How do you make an egg roll?
Tell me.
Push it downhill. And
so you can all go home and there's nothing to worry about. Get out of here now. Go on home and go home.